is tilted, talking war, vengeful debtors, even score. I regret a world not more cool.
This is a treat too. Chuck is an absolute legend in North Dakota, and the reason that we brought him back is that we kept getting requests. When are you going to bring Chuck Suchy back? When is Chuck coming back? So Chuck is back. Here he is, Mr. Chuck Suchy.
It's like Steve McQueen and what's that movie? Where the prison one? Yeah, and he keeps saying to the guards as they walk past, "I'm still here." Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here, and I dedicate all of my performances now to my producer and dear friend Peter Ostrushko, who, if you don't know, suffered a severe stroke about 1.5 years ago and is paralyzed on his left side. And so every breath we take, every step we make, let us be grateful. And good King Wenceslas looked up on the feast of Stephen, where the snow lay round about, deep, crisp, and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost be cruel. When our poor man came in sight, gathering winter knowest telling yonder peasant, who is he, what and where his dwelling? Sire, he lives a good league hence, underneath the mountain, up against the forest fence, by St. Agnes Fountain. When we bring them thither, page and monarch, forth they went together, through the cruel wind's wild lament and the bitter wind. Sire, the night is darker now, and the wind blows stronger. Fails my heart, I know not how I can go no longer. Mark my footsteps, my dear page, tread thee in them boldly. Thou shalt find the winter's rage freeze thy bloodless cold. Where the Thank you. And no, it's not out of season to think about blessing the poor. I sing that, I started using that in my practices that I do every day just to remind myself that this is not anything new and not about me, and that I'm privileged to be part of a long tradition that goes way, way, way back, and plus it's a really nice story. In a search for missing pieces, through this life we're spinning round. For some we have lost, some we have never found. For some it's a matter of laughter, for some it's a trail of tears. For some it's a dream they've been after, lost in the veil of years. For some it's the joy of living, or finding the means to deal. For some it's the joy of giving, or finding the wounds to heal. In a search for missing pieces, through this life we're spinning round. Some we have lost, some we have never found. For some it's to find a beginning, for some it's to reach an end. For losers a taste of winning, for the lonely to touch a friend. For many it's a matter of money, for finding the strength to leave. For some to feel lucky or funny, or finally the courage to grieve. In a search for missing pieces, through this life we're spinning round. Some we have lost, we've never found. For some it's a walk in the wild, knowing that God is whole. For some it's a long lost childhood, the cruelest of unpaid tolls. For some it's the feel of forgiveness, with a freedom that builds a heart. For some it's the joy of acceptance and loving just who they are. In a search for missing pieces, through this life we're spinning round. Some we have lost, some we've never found. In a search for missing pieces, through this life we're spinning round. Some we have lost, some we've never found. Thank you. We all got them. We all got them. I was visiting with a dear friend of mine. We were actually college roommates at NDSU, and back in the 70s. And we had gotten in touch with each other again. He had moved out to Helena, Montana, and we always kept in touch, and we were talking on the phone. one night. We were in our 40s, and we were talking about what we thought was midlife. I didn't realize at that time that midlife doesn't start till about 67, 68. That's midlife. Yeah. Anyway, after we hung up the phone, we were talking about what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives, as good friends often do. And hung up the phone, and there were all these pieces of life floating around in the dark in front of me. And so after sifting through them and searching for some poetry in them, that song emerged. And it's amazing. That was written so long ago, and yet stuff is in there that I didn't realize was there. And now as I go through some of these early songs, maybe it's just from looking at life from the other side of 70, but there was stuff in there written to myself. It was a gift to myself. And so I've used that now when I do songwriting workshops to encourage people, especially young people, to keep a journal or write a song or poem, and tell them it's a gift to yourself in the future. You can see who you thought you were going to be and who you thought you were at that time. And so when lines pop up out at me while I'm singing it, lines like, for some it's the feel of forgiveness. I heard this remarkable interview with a guy named Bud Welch, whose daughter was killed in the Oklahoma City bombing. And he was ended up, instead of seeking vengeance against Tim McVeigh, he ended up through his journey of the heart to fight for Tim McVeigh's life, and in seeking forgiveness. And he said he actually met Tim McVeigh's father, and when he looked into Tim McVeigh's father's eyes, he saw nothing more than the broken heart of another father. And he said, at that moment, I felt forgiveness. He said, I had talked forgiveness prior, but then I felt it. For some, it's the feel of forgiveness. It gets cheerier after this, I swear. It really does. Well, some I've been asked, I think 3 or 4 times this morning if I'm still farming. Yeah. We don't really grain farm. We put the whole farm to grass and alfalfa about 20 years ago, my wife Linda and I. But we still have 50 head of beef cattle, and we try and raise organically, and actually we do, and sustainably. And so in part of that movement towards sustainability was we moved calving from early March to mid to late May when you're supposed to calve. And it's just so much easier on land, on environment, it's easier on animal, and it's easier on Chuck too, I found out. And at least Chuck's knees. But there's still something I miss about the magic, or maybe it's the mythological idea of heroism of stewardship that maybe is somewhat misguided. But nevertheless, there is a distinct beauty of being out under an early March sky before the sun had come up, when you're with a mother cow that knows something important is about to happen. And then the miracle does happen. And if it's a particularly cold morning, out under that blanket of crystal clear stars, if it's particularly cold, I will have taken a bale of cattails that I baled up the fall before, because they make such nice bedding and they smell of mint and river and willow. And I spread that out for that mother cow to lie down in, and she nurses her calf, does lie down, and then the calf somehow sleepily finds its way over to that big warm belly of that mama and slides down into that cattail bed. And having the privilege and realizing that it is a privilege of stewardship to gaze upon that event, I find myself wanting to go over and slide up against that big warm belly too, and slide down into the mint smelling cattails. Oh, my little dark-eyed one, you who've yet to see the sun, born before the chilly dawn, by your mama safe and warm. You have made the journey far, from past the moon, beyond the star. Now you rest your weary head and lay you down in a cattail bed. Lay you down in a cattail bed. Billion stars above your head. Venus blue, Mars so red. Lay you down in a cattail bed. I have labored long last fall, bailing cat-tailed hen and tall, put up dry in yonder shed, to make for you this cattail bed. And unlike you, not new. I am on a journey to rest my soul, clear my head, lay me down in a cattail bed. Lay me down in a cattail bed. Billion stars above my head, Venus blue, Mars so red. Lay me down in a cattail bed. Cattail bed, sleepy cattail bed, sleepy head, sleepy head, cattail bed. Thank you. I actually put, I was playing up at the Fort Totten school, and actually put the front row to sleep with that song. But they were the kindergartners, and I found out afterwards they had been counting their bus ride. They'd probably been up since 6 a.m. that morning to ride the bus, get to school, and so the last thing they needed was a 60-year-old gray-haired guy to sing them a lullaby. But I took that as a compliment. I thought it was pretty cool. I know we're just north of, not too far from Nebraska here, and there's a place called the Bohemian Alps. I don't know if you're aware of this, in eastern Nebraska. They're actually hills, but a lot of Bohemian people have settled there. And being that my name is of Czech origin, Suchy, which means dry, and I took interest in it, and the poet laureate, Ted Kouzier, poet laureate, he was actually poet laureate of the United States for a term, and he was visiting North Dakota, and he gave me a copy of his book called Local Wonders, and in it, it talked about living in the Bohemian Alps in Nebraska, and how the Czech people have this knack for succinctly summing things up with very few words. And then it just dawned on me that's what part of this is. That there's some DNA perhaps connection here, because my dad, who was full Czech, had this knack for summing things up in just a couple of words. If someone made him mad, he had this colorful way of describing things sometimes. If someone made him mad, he would say like, I should have pushed his nose all over his face, though he never did, that I'm aware of. And he always talked about if someone was full of themselves, really full of themselves, he would always referred to those people as I guys. I guys. And if they were maybe not real competent, he called them candy kids. I guys and candy kids. And he also, one day when there was a family picnic, and the men were at this neighborhood picnic with their families, talking. The men were gathered around the keg of beer off to the side, and they were talking about the proper temperature at which beer should be when it's consumed, like these farmers from south of Mandan knew. And some of them were trying to sound real worldly, saying, yeah, in Germany they drink it warm. You drink it out of a boot, warm. And no, it's got to be ice cold. And I remember as a 10-year-old wanting to be drawn into that adult conversation. I remember my dad speaking up, which was not common. And he said, beer tastes best when it's cooled in the shade of a bale of hay. And I've never forgotten that. And I just got goosebumps right now just saying it, because it gets deeper every time I think about it and the profundity there. And a few years ago, I was thinking about that as our country was entering into some dangerous worldly excursions, I thought at that time. And I was just wondering why everybody couldn't sit down in the shade at the edge of the field and maybe open up a beer and just be together. Now it's come another year, another winter, living here, reminiscing summer beer, cool in the shade. World is tilted, talking war, vengeful debtors, even score. I regret a world not more cool in the shade. Voices raging, radio, choices waging, they don't know, melt away like aging snow, cool in the shade. Sun glancing off the tree, soul dancing with the breeze. Jesus came to rest his case. Do we live the test of faith with plowshares, swords replace, cool in the shade? Wisdom Ferdinand, and hear with heart and heal with hand, cool in the shade. Sun glancing off the tree, soul dancing with the breeze. Cool in the shade. Winter wanes, bows to spring, joyful fruits will summer bring, and fearlessly will robins sing, cool in the shade. Cool in the shade. In the shade. Thank you. A little noogie there. Sometimes my arthritic hands get a little locked up, so, and that's what's so great about being 71, is 'cause making mistakes, I don't care. Well, I care. I want to give you my absolute best, but that's part of it.
You know probably 2 songs.
Yep.
For Zeb.
Yep, got it.
Thanks.
Speaking of hands, summer hands get their start in the spring, when the farm comes to life with work that it brings, when the wheatgrass greens and meadowlark sings. Summer hands. Summer hands start out tender and thin, not much different from their city friends. They toughen as they're used time and again. Summer hands. And summer hands hold the newborn child. Cool mother's brow reassure her a while. Steer the plow through fields mile after mile. Summer hands. Summer hands ain't lazy. If they could think, they'd think they're crazy. Summer hands make a summertime sight when they twirl their partners round on Saturday night. Summer hands don't heal, well, it's true. Barbed wire cuts, blood blisters, calluses too. And when those hail clouds come, there's nails that get you on summer hands. And in the fall, when the pace settles down, summer hands lose that summertime brown. They shoot some pool, tip a cool one in town. Summer hands, summer hands ain't lazy. If they could think, they'd think they're crazy. Summer hands have more work than they need. I hope they know of all the people they feed. Someday when they're old and they're sore, they won't be summer hands anymore. They'll rock their owners in a chair by the door. A front porch scene where the old ones dream of 17 and the summer hand. Summertime hands, summer hands. There you go. By the way, the other reason I've been looking forward to being here was so I could wear this 12th annual, designed by the great Charlie Smith. And it's at the bottom of my T-shirt drawer. And Linda always says, you know, one of these days, Chuck, one of these days. I said, no, I'm going back. I know I'm going back. All right. I started learning music on accordion when I was in the 2nd grade, going to Little Heart School number 2, a one-room school. And then I had to go into 9th grade school at Mandan Junior High, and there was that sea of unfamiliarity. And those kids that seemed so sophisticated and different. And there was all this difference. There was the different way they talked, the different way they behaved, the different way they dressed. All different from us farm kids, and different from the way they smelled from us farm kids. Not really. But I found out it was tough being a farm kid at Mandan Junior High. And then I realized it was damn near impossible being a farm kid who played the accordion at Mandan Junior High. So all those accordion lessons from 2nd grade on up seemed such a waste. And so I succumbed to peer pressure and quit playing my accordion. But that voice of truth that prevails, that voice of truth that dwells in every heart, in every body, spoke that it had not gone away, it had not diminished. And it reminded me of my love for playing the accordion. So I'm grateful that I'm back on this journey again and healing my inner accordion child. And sorry. Okay. Wow. So I'm going to finish up here with a couple of accordion tunes. And I had the not only did I have a good teacher when I was in grade school. Every Saturday we'd go to town, take cream and eggs to town. I'd get my accordion lesson. And I had this wonderful teacher who was very eclectic. He was a professional. He performed in the area. Wally Mackey. He was of Finnish heritage. And he taught me lots of different styles, and so I'm grateful for that. And so then it came my turn. A young man asked me if I would mentor him. And so I did for a couple of years. And he was very proficient, and I was out on a little tour, and he was going to be playing with the Mandan high school senior concert band won, even though he was just barely a freshman and wasn't supposed to be in there. And the instructor wanted to have this accordion piece. So afterwards, I got back and I said, Johann, how'd it go? And he said, oh, it went fine. And I said, well, how about the other kids? Are they making fun of you now? You know, the accordion? He said, no. He looked at me kind of perplexedly. He said, no. He said, in fact, the girls love me now. Yes! I was just ahead of my time.
Mr. Chuck Suchy. One word would certainly be smooth, right? Master storyteller. Folk Fest favorite. All of those apply. Thanks for coming down from the great north.
Thank you.
Say, we have a special guest here every Saturday afternoon at the Folk Fest. We have some contestants that have won some contests in Canton, and we have today Little Miss Canton with us first. So would you come on up, and we'll introduce you. Get this down to your level. Could you tell us what your name is, dear?
Larissa.
Larissa. And when was the contest?
The week before Celebrate Canton.
Okay. And did you get to ride in a Canton parade then as a winner? Wow, fantastic. Now, what other responsibilities do you have as Little Miss Canton? Do you know?
Well, I have to respect others.
Perfect. What more do you need than that, right? Little Miss Canton, thanks for coming.
World is tilted, talking war, vengeful debtors, even score. I regret a world not more cool in the shade. Voices raging, radio, choices waging, they don't know, melt away like aging snow.